everybody. It's nice to see so many people here today, and we are looking forward to our presentation today on the device that shall remain nameless, for the moment at least. Let me start by asking if anybody has an Echo device currently. Wow, okay, quite a few people. Okay, so yes, we have found it is definitely a popular device.
We have our work cut out for us with everybody, all the hands that came up. But,
yeah, so we better, hopefully we'll have some new information for you. For those of you who are not aware of the Echo devices, they are devices from Amazon, and they are what we call smart speakers. And the basic idea is that you are able to talk to the speaker and it will talk back to you, and you can do various different things with it. Now, it is called a smart speaker, but we always say that, you know, it's only as smart as the user. So I'm sure all of you guys are very smart. And there's a lot of different things that you're able to do. We're just going to be covering a few of what we think are some of the best ones today. But there really is a lot that these smart speakers can do, and there's more features that are being added all the time. There are a few different brands of smart speaker. We're going to be concentrating on the Amazon brand today, but there are other brands as well. So Google make a smart speaker, and there is also one from Apple as well. Any others, Cory, that you're aware of?
Those are the main three.
Yeah. And so, you know, we actually did a show on these recently comparing them, and they're all fairly comparable, but I think that the Amazon device is your favorite, right, Cory?
It is the one I've chosen. It is my favorite, but you're right. I think when you really compare them and look at what they do, all three do very similar things. Some excel in different areas. So whatever we cover today, although it's Amazon specific, if you've got a Google Home or a HomePod or looking at one of those, you can be pretty comfortable that it's going to do pretty much the same as what we show today.
Yeah, so there's a few different models even of the Amazon Echo devices. Actually, they seem to have a ton of models available at the moment. So I'm going to be representing the people who are not smart speaker users, because I don't use one, and I've never owned one. But Cory is a very very big fan of them. He uses them for a lot of different things.
Typically, when you are presenting on a topic, you don't tell everybody.
That's a good point,
you don't have one until you say.
Should have get that point. But what I meant to say is I'm a big fan, big user.
What's so cool about these devices is they are really simple to use. And as long as you have the ability to speak, you can get a lot out of these devices. So there is a number of them on the market. And before I jump into all the different options, I do want to just mention one thing about these devices, and it is the privacy of these. A lot of times people, and Luke, I think sometimes, I feel like you fall into this category.
Yes, very much so.
Yeah. You don't want a device in your home with a microphone from a privacy standpoint. And I think that's absolutely important to remember, that although these devices can be low cost and do a lot, you do need to remember that there is a company behind these devices, and there's a microphone in your home. Now, there is some privacy controls where you can turn the microphones on and off, but that privacy concern is something to remember. For me personally, the benefit that I get from these devices outweigh my privacy concerns. There's nothing going in my home that I really care if Amazon or an employee of Amazon is hanging out listening to what's going on in my home. They're going to get bored pretty quickly, and I'm okay with that. But not everybody is, so it is important to remember what those privacy concerns may be having a microphone in your home. So
yeah, and I will say that you are able to mute the microphone, so there's always that possibility. Mm-hmm. But unless you do that, and there's a physical button you have to press to do that, unless you do that, then that microphone is listening all the time for the word which will activate the smart speaker.
Yeah. So the different options of the Amazon Echo line, we'll start from the lower end price-wise and kind of size-wise, and that's the Amazon Echo Dot. It's probably one of the most popular. Typically, it's looking at $49, but when Amazon has sales, which is quite often, you can pick them up anywhere from $29 or even $39, which is a really great price for what you get from the device. Just a small hockey puck-sized device, has a built-in speaker and microphone, and does all of the same things that some of the more expensive, larger devices of Amazon Echo do. They all do very similar things. What it really comes down to is kind of sound quality. The smaller, the cheaper the device, maybe not as good a quality speaker you might get out of it. Then as we move up the line, we look at the traditional Amazon Echo. This is a little larger speaker. Again, it's going to do all the same things that the Amazon Echo Dot does, but it's got a little bit higher quality speaker, so that the sound that you're getting from it, both when you're asking questions and getting those answers, or maybe listening to music, you're going to get a little better sound quality. The last line that they have is their show lineup, and the shows have actual visual displays on them, and they come in 5-inch, 8-inch, 10-inch, or 15-inch models. And again, they all do the same thing. They're going to do all the same as the Amazon Echo and the Echo Dot, but we're going to get a visual display included with that. So we're going to get some extra features, including video calling, visual representation of recipes or your calendar, and then obviously the larger the screen, the more you're going to see on that screen, or the larger it is from a low vision standpoint.
So I think you have a show in your kitchen, right?
I do. I have a Echo 15 in the kitchen. It's kind of the hub of our kitchen. So we show recipes up there. The family calendar is shown up there. And then sometimes if when we're eating dinner, sometimes we'll turn it and even watch Hulu. So we may watch a TV show or something on it.
Nice. Well. And your doorbell is connected to it. So when somebody rings the doorbell, you can see on the screen who's there, correct?
Yeah, not only can you see who's on there, but which doesn't do me very good, as much good as not being able to see, but it does turn on the microphone so I can actually talk to the person who's at my front door.
Yeah, great.
Which is usually an Amazon delivery. Who's at the door. So the price ranges, as we talked about, they range anywhere from $49 all the way up to $349 for sort of that bigger 15-inch show. So there's really an option both in price and in kind of size that's going to best fit you.
And talking of Amazon deliveries, you can order from Amazon directly through your Amazon Echo device.
And
you see, they thought about that. It was a smart design.
Yep.
So now we're going to take a look at some of the features. And we're going to start off with some of the very basic features that everybody probably already knows that you're able to do. And these are going to be asking the device the time, the date, and the weather. So pretty straightforward things. So Cory, would you like to take us away?
Yeah, so before we can start asking it questions, I can't just simply say, what time is it? Because it's not going to do anything. The only time the Echo devices will respond to your questions or your commands is by using the trigger word first. And so, yes, there's a microphone and it's always listening, but it's really only listening for that word. And once that word's said, then it's going to listen to your command afterwards. By default, the trigger phrase on all devices is the A word, and I'll say it in just a moment. Although you do have the ability to change that to other words. You can change it to Amazon or Echo or computer, or even now Ziggy. Is another name that they what they call the wake word or trigger phrase. Ours is set to the traditional A word, so I'm going to ask it the time, but again, before I ask it the time, I've got to say that trigger phrase first. So I'm going to say, Alexa, what time is it?
The time is 10:55 a.m.
Perfect. So it didn't react until it heard me say that A word first, then heard my question, and then answered. Alexa, what's the date today?
Today is Friday, October 7th.
Alexa, what's the weather today?
In New Berlin, it's 46 degrees Fahrenheit with clear skies and sun. Today, you can look for mostly sunny weather, with a high of 51 degrees and a low of 31 degrees.
Now, you heard it say...
By the way, there's a cruise warning in Saturday, October 8th from 1 a.m. to 8 a.m.
A little warning here. All right, because you heard it say New Berlin. Obviously, we're not in New Berlin, but this is my personal device. It's set under my account, so it knows what my address is. So even though we've moved it, it thinks we're still in New Berlin, which is why we got its weather. Now, I could simply just ask it the weather and give it a different city, and then it would do so. And then besides asking it what's the weather today, I can say tomorrow, or I could ask for a 5 or 7 day forecast as well. So it's really simple to get it, simple answers to it. Now, we asked it specifically the weather, but you could be creative and say, do I need a jacket today? And then it'll sort of answer, and based on what the weather is, it'll then base its answer and say yes or no.
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about the smart speakers is traditionally with this type of device, you have to give a very specific command. But these days you can talk in a very natural way. And for the most part, the speaker will understand what it is that you're trying to do. I will also say if you have a smartphone, you probably have this type of technology built into your smartphone as well. And so you can ask your smartphone various things, just like we're asking the Echo various things here today too.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to look at searching for information now. So these devices are connected to the internet. That's how they work. And obviously on the internet, there's a lot of information, but it can be difficult to find specific things that you're looking for. Using the smart speaker, we can ask it to find pieces of information, and it will read those aloud to us. So we have a cooking-related piece of information here, which we're going to try, which is how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon. So let's find out if the Echo knows the answer. Alexa, how many teaspoons are in a tablespoon?
1 tablespoon is 3 teaspoons.
There you go. So if you're ever cooking and all you can find is a tablespoon, now you know that, or if you only find a teaspoon, now you know 3 of those will equal a tablespoon.
Exactly. And the reason that we wanted to show that one specifically is because another thing that we can do is recipes. We can ask the Echo for different recipes, and it's pretty clever how she will give us the information. She will allow us to go step by step through the recipe, and we can tell the device when to advance the recipe. So we can listen to a step, carry out the step, and then go to the next step, and so on and so forth. So, Cory, what kind of recipe should we search for today?
I want to make chocolate chip cookies.
Okay, so
I take that back. I want to eat chocolate chip cookies.
After the presentation, if you'd like to go to the back, Cory will be baking some cookies, so feel free. Okay, so we're going to find out if we have any cookie recipes. So I will ask the Echo, Alexa, give me a cookie recipe.
Finding some cookie recipes. Okay, for cookie, based on your food preferences, I recommend Cocoa cookies from Food Network. 1 hour to make. What would you like? Start recipe, send to phone, add to list, or hear next recipe?
Alexa, stop. So I'm just going to stop it there because I just wanted to go over some of the options that we had there. We could start the recipe, in which case she would give us the first step. But we also had the option to send the recipe to our phone. So with the Alexa app, I shouldn't have said that, should I? with the A-Word app on our phone, she could actually send the recipe to our phone, so we would have it available there. And also, we could add it to our list. Now, I'm assuming, Cory, that adds the ingredients to a list. Does that sound correct?
That's correct, yeah.
Yeah, so we could actually add the ingredients to a list, and those would be displayed on our phone, but also we would be able to access those through the smart speaker as well. But let's go ahead and try some of the steps for the recipe so we can hear what that sounds like. Alexa, give me a chocolate chip cookie recipe.
Finding some chocolate chip cookie recipes. I couldn't find any recipes for chocolate chip cookie that match your food preferences.
So Cory obviously has some strict food preferences set up.
Got one now.
What would you like? Start recipe, send to phone, add to list, or hear next recipe?
Start recipe.
Alexa, start recipe.
Chocolate chip cookies from Kitchen Stories. There are 8 ingredients. Would you like to gather ingredients or hear the instructions?
Hear the instructions.
Sorry, I'm having trouble. Please try it in a little while.
Oh. So
There you go.
we already saw in the previous presentation how technology never works when you need it to. And this is a perfect example of that. So you're just going to have to take my word that what should be happening here is it will
Want me to
step us
reenact
through.
it really quick?
Yeah, why don't you reenact it?
First step is to...
Yeah.
That didn't work as well. It does typically... Now, Yes, as you see with technology, it doesn't always work, especially when you're trying to use other internets and stuff. But yes, it will give you the first step and then gives you a moment to then say, would you like me to repeat that or would you like the next step? So it gives you some time to sort of perform that step. It just doesn't throw them to you all at one time, which isn't really helpful. It'll give you time to complete that step and then move on to the next one.
Yeah, so definitely a good aid to have in the kitchen. And it should be mentioned as well that you can buy multiples of these devices and have them in different places in the house and set them up on a network so they're all connected to each other. That might sound like it's a lot, but it's fairly straightforward to set it up like that. And that way you could have a device in the kitchen for when you want to do recipes. You could have a device in the front room for when you want to listen to music. You could have a device upstairs that you use as an alarm and things like that. I believe, can you set those up to all speak at the same time?
You can't. You can play music across multiple, but you can't. You can announce to the whole all of them, like if you want to, which we'll show in a little bit. But you can't have them all talk when you ask one a question.
But you can't have them play music across the entire house as a kind of unified system. So that's some pretty cool stuff that you can do.
And if you think about it, being in the kitchen, especially for the recipes, most of the time your hands are dirty, right? You're in the middle of cooking, so being able to use your voice versus trying to go over and read, if it's let's say a Braille recipe, your hands are filthy, or even a low vision, large print recipe, now you're trying to turn the pages. So just being able to use your voice to do that recipe can be super helpful in the kitchen.
All right, so we're going to move on to the next thing, which is lists, and we're going to create a grocery list for our chocolate chip cookies. I hope you know the ingredients for chocolate chip.
I do. It is called Chips Ahoy. It's the one ingredient.
Perfect. It should be a very short list then. So we can create lists using the Echo device, and we can then listen back to those lists. We can also have those lists displayed on our phone. We can edit the lists and we can delete the lists. All of that just using our voice, which is pretty handy. So we're going to try and create a grocery list here. So let's start off and we'll be walked through the process by the speaker. Alexa, create a grocery list.
Create a list called grocery, right?
Yes.
I've created grocery list. What should I add to it?
Chocolate chip cookies.
I've added chocolate chip cookies to your grocery list. What else?
Milk.
I've added milk to your grocery list. What else?
End.
You already have a list called grocery. What should I add to it?
Nothing.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah. Okay, so we have chocolate chip cookies and milk on our list. We should now be able to now listen back to that list and hear what is on it. So we're gonna ask what's on our grocery list. Alexa, what's on our grocery list?
You have 2 items on your grocery list, milk and chocolate chip cookies.
Awesome. Okay, so we've got our 2 items. Now let's say that we've already bought the milk now, so we need to get rid of that from the list, and we would just have the cookies left. We're going to see if we can get rid of the milk from the list, but leave the cookies there. Alexa, delete milk from my grocery list.
I've checked off milk from grocery.
Okay, so it was that easy. So now our list just says chocolate chip cookies. So you can imagine if you're going, shopping and you need to be able to kind of buy a bunch of things and then know what you've purchased and what you still have left. It's very easy to create those lists using the Echo.
And it's great because anyone in the home can add to that main grocery list. So anyone can quickly add things to it. If you have the Amazon A app on your phone, you can quickly access that list. Or once that Amazon A app is on your phone, you can then use your voice and say that wake word and ask it what's on your list. So even if you're not able to access the app itself because maybe it's just too hard to see or you're not super comfortable with a smartphone, once the app's open, you can still use your voice and ask it the same questions outside your house and get your grocery list.
All right, so with that being said, Cory, we're handing over to you for alarms and timers.
Yeah, so part of cooking, as we've got this chocolate chip cookie recipe set, is being able to set a timer. So we've got our cookies, they're ready to go, we're putting them in the oven, and let's say it's a 12-minute timer, we can say, Alexa, set a chocolate chip cookie timer for 10 minutes.
Chocolate chip cookie timer, 10 minutes.
Now, I could have just said set a timer for 10 minutes, but I like to name the timers because I might set more than one timer. Let's say I'm also making, what else would you make with chocolate chip cookies?
More chocolate chip cookies.
How about oatmeal raisin? We're doing that too. So now I could say, Alexa, set an oatmeal raisin cookie timer for 12 minutes. Or ignore me. Alexa, set an oatmeal raisin cookie timer for 12 minutes.
Oatmeal raisin
There we
cookie
go.
timer, 12 minutes.
So now I've got
Starting
two
now.
timers. Now I could simply say what is left on my timer and it would tell me what both are left. But because I name them, I can now specifically ask the timer that I want. So Alexa, how much time is left on the chocolate chip cookie timer?
You have 9 minutes and 10 seconds left on your chocolate chip cookie timer.
Now, so because I named them, I can work with them individually and specifically by using their name. Alexa, cancel my oatmeal raisin cookie timer.
Oatmeal raisin cookie timer canceled.
But yet my chocolate chip cookie one is still going because I just set it to delete that specific oatmeal one.
Does this mean we're not getting those oatmeal cookies now?
We are not, or they're going to burn. We'll leave the chocolate chip cookie timer going so that you guys can hear what the timer sounds like when it goes off. And then it'll be a surprise because I'll forget that we left it.
It'll be a surprise to us.
Yes, exactly. Besides timers, you can also do alarms. Alarms could be anything from a wake-up alarm in the morning or a quick nap, or if you just don't want to forget something, you can simply set an alarm. Now, alarm can be as easy as, Alexa, set an alarm for 2 p.m.
Alarm set for 2 p.m.
So now it's just going to go off today at 2 p.m. I could have said 6 a.m. and it would know then obviously to set it for tomorrow for 6 a.m. But let's say you get up every single day of the week. Every day you got to get up at 6:30 in the morning to get ready for work. Rather than each night saying set an alarm for 6:30 a.m., I can simply say, Alexa, set an alarm for every weekday at 6:30 a.m.
Second alarm set for every weekday at 6:30 a.m.
So now it's going to go off every weekday for me at 6:30, and I don't have to worry about forgetting to set my alarm, and it won't wake me up on Saturday and Sunday, thank goodness, and let me sleep in. Alexa, cancel my 2 p.m. alarm.
2 p.m. alarm canceled.
Alexa, cancel my weekday alarm.
Your next 6:30 a.m. alarm is canceled. Would you like to cancel this alarm for every weekday?
Yes.
Alarm for every weekday at 6:30 a.m. canceled.
There you go. So now you can see it allowed me to cancel one or the whole series. You might have also noticed that when it asked me a question, I did not say the wake word first. Anytime the device asks you a follow-up question, you do not have to say the trigger word or the wake phrase. You can just go ahead and answer because it knows it's waiting for a response from you.
So Cory, this is your personal Echo, is that correct?
This is.
Alexa, set an alarm for tomorrow at 4 a.m.
Alarm set for 4 a.m. tomorrow.
Excellent.
Alexa, remind me to yell at Luke tomorrow at 4:30 a.m.
Okay, I'll remind you.
No, there you go. I better cancel. This is the one for my bedroom, so it is going to yell at me.
Tomorrow is going to be interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Cory, so the next topic that we have on our list here is the calendar.
Alexa, cancel all my alarms.
Canceling all your alarms.
Alexa, cancel my reminder.
Yell at Luke on Saturday at 4 a.m. canceled.
I really don't want it to go off.
I'm surprised you don't have one of those set for every day.
That's very true. I don't need to be reminded. All right, what was the next one?
Next we have calendar.
Yeah, so calendar is also something that can be difficult with low or no vision. It can be hard to see the calendar, and if you base it on your phone, sometimes that can be a little bit more difficult. So it can be really nice to have the Amazon Echo be your family calendar. Now, in the app itself, you can go in and set up a Google or Microsoft calendar. And the only reason I mention this is because then it can be really simple to have a shared family calendar. If you have family members who have access to a Google Calendar and you all share it, you can set that as your default calendar for Amazon Echo, and then everyone can add and remove things from the calendar. But you don't have to go that route. You can just go and use the built-in calendar as well. And it can be as simple as saying, Alexa, add an appointment. Or maybe not that simple. Alexa, add an appointment.
Okay. What day and time?
Tomorrow at 4 a.m.
And what's the name of the event?
Remember to yell at Luke.
Okay, I've added that.
So now it's on my calendar. I can simply say, Alexa, do I have anything on my calendar tomorrow? Alexa, do I have anything on my calendar tomorrow?
Tomorrow, there is one event. At 4 a.m., there's remember to yell at Luke.
There we go.
The funny thing about that is, though, you're going to get a calendar reminder, and that's going to wake you up.
That's what's going to make me yell at you. Alexa, cancel my calendar event for tomorrow.
Delete remember to yell at Luke at 4 a.m. for tomorrow, right?
Yes.
I've deleted that.
Now, in this case, I set one calendar event, but just like I did for alarms before, I could do reoccurring. So I could say set an event for every day at 6 a.m. or every other week. So you can also do reoccurring events on that calendar. And I could have, we asked it, what was going on that day. We were able to add an event. I was able to delete it, but I could have edited it as well too. So if I wanted to change the time or date, I could have done so, all by just using your voice.
And you probably have this functionality built into your smartphone as well, which is useful when you're on the go and you need to know what's on your calendar. So that's worth bearing in mind too. Mm-hmm. All right, so next we are going to try and do a live demonstration that involves people who don't know that they're going to be part of a live demonstration. So we're going to see how it goes. Those people are Cory's children, and we're going to be looking at a feature of the Echo, which is, what's it called, intercom or announcements?
Announcements, it's called. So we're going to look at two features here in a row, one called announcements and the other is making phone calls. So my house has a lot of Amazon Echoes in there. We're in the double digits in my house. They're all over the place. One of the great features, there's two really cool features. One's called drop-in. This has to be enabled and turned on, but when it is, you can drop into another device by using its name, and then it's a two-way intercom system, so you're just talking back and forth to each other. The other thing you can do is something called announcements, and that's when I make an announcement, and then it's going to play across all of the Echo devices in your account. So we use this a lot of times when it's time to eat. Now, earlier today, I told my kids not to make any announcements because we were doing a work event. Now, I'm going to try to make an announcement. They may or may not reply, but we're going to hear what it sounds like. Alexa, announce, hey kids, I'm at work doing an event. Say hello to everyone.
Announcing.
Hey kids, I'm at work doing an event. Say hello to everyone. So you heard that it played back my actual voice in recording, and then it played it across all of the devices. We'll hear kind of a little, oh, here we go.
What?
That's perfect.
Yeah, no. Alexa, announce. I said I'm at work doing an event. Say hello to everyone.
Announcing.
That was my daughter. I said I'm at work doing an event. Say hello to everyone. All right, we'll see if we'll get a nice hello. My kids are 11 and 12, so you don't get a lot of nice hellos from them. Okay, so we'll move on, but as you can see, you're then able to announce back and forth throughout the house. So it's nice not to be well, here we go. Well, that was my son downstairs. I'm not even sure what he yells.
I'm starting to doubt the utility of this feature.
Well, typically it works much better. It's typically used in our house to yell at each other. It's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
But it's great to be able to announce across the house to people without screaming. But another feature that is super handy, especially in an emergency situation, is the ability to make phone calls. So just by using your voice, you can call for help. Now, I don't believe it'll do 911 because it doesn't know where you are, but you can call someone else when you need assistance. So what we're going to do now is we're going to call Max at the front desk of Vision Forward. I think he's still there today. So we're going to give him a call and see if making phone calls works. Alexa, call 414-615-0100. Oh, our timer was going off.
1-414-615-0100.
Here we go. And our timer's going off from the chocolate chip cookies.
I'm hoping Max answers and says, what?
Yeah. What'd you say? So you hear the ringing and our timer. Come on, Max.
He was forewarned as well.
He was.
He should be ready.
Should be at his desk waiting for us. Actually, we're so busy, he's probably on another call right now, but I bet you our answering system.
Our normal business hours are
There we go.
Friday.
That's all right. Alexa, hang up. Alexa, stop timer. So we're able to use our voice to make phone calls by, you can add contacts. In this case, I gave a phone number, but if you uploaded in the Amazon A app, if you uploaded contacts maybe from your phone or you added some from the computer, you could just use names rather than putting having to actually say the number. But it can be such a useful thing when, not only just for some people, they struggle to use the phone keypad, so just being able to use it to make calls, but then again, in that emergency situation where you can just use your voice and not have to be able to reach the phone.
And of course, you don't need any kind of phone plan for that or anything like that. It's just using your internet.
Correct. One thing it doesn't do, though, is receive calls. So you can only make outgoing calls. Someone can't call you on it. There is some special equipment you can get, but by default, it can't be used to receive calls.
All right, well, I think we still have 10 minutes left here, and we have 3 more things on our list.
Okay.
We have jokes, we have games, and we have smart home automations.
I vote for games,
Okay.
but let's maybe let everyone else decide what they want to.
And you have more than 10 minutes. You have to record.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Well, then we can
have
do more
plenty of
than
time then.
All right.
Okay, so we
One more
get.
interruption. Do you want to just take a minute for any questions? I think we might have a question.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
We just had a Google thing put in. Is the trigger Siri?
So if it's a Google Home device, then your trigger is going to be Hey Google or OK Google.
Okay.
If you have Siri either on your iPhone and it's been set up, or you have a HomePod at home, the trigger phrase is going to be Hey Siri. Now, everything we've done up to this point is pretty much going to be identical on the Google device. So you can use pretty much everything we've done so
I've
far.
got Siri in the phone, and the Google, I'd have to Hey Google.
What's that?
I have Siri in my iPhone,
Uh-huh.
but the Google thing is, the trigger is Hey Google.
Hey Google
Yep.
or OK Google. Yep, either one will work.
Thank you.
Yep. Any other questions? We could ask Alexa if she has a question.
All right, well, let's take a look at games. So I think we're going to try Jeopardy, right? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so Jeopardy is awesome. They don't give you a whole lot of time to answer, but maybe we will try 1 or 2 questions. If anyone knows the answer, go ahead and yell it out. But remember, it has to be in the form of a question. It will not give it to us if we don't say what is or who is or whatever it might be.
Okay, all right. So let's give it a try. Sir, play Jeopardy. This is Jeopardy.
You were in the middle of an event. Do you want to continue the event?
Yes.
I guess so.
Welcome to your first Jeopardy event. Before we get started, your opponents will need to know who they're up against. First, we need a name for you. A nickname or first name is fine. What should we call you?
Smartest people ever. Then they'll be
Got it.
intimidated.
Where are you from?
Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
That's a lot of
Sorry, I
pressure you
didn't get
just
where
put.
you're from. Where are you from?
Milwaukee.
Okay, that's all we need. My assistant will take over from here.
This weekend's event, Now We're Talking, features 60 clues about language. This matchup will be with Osborne
We're gonna be
from
here a
Hell.
while.
Here are
How
the
much
clues
time?
for the Jeopardy round.
Okay, here we go.
Our first Jeopardy category is homonyms. Homonyms are words that are spelled and pronounced the same, but have different meanings. To put up with something difficult, or a large mammal.
Yeah, I don't have much time.
Bear.
Remember,
Yeah.
hey! Form of a question, starting with phrases like who is or what is.
Your first category is homonyms.
So it's going to repeat it for us.
Homonyms are words that are spelled and pronounced the same,
You got
but
it.
have different meanings. To put up with something difficult, or a large mammal.
What is bear?
Nope. The correct response was what is bear.
I'm going to declare
The
shenanigans
next
on that.
category is anagrams of least.
I guess we got a
You're
bear.
telling that lame joke for the 5th time? Your act has really become this.
What's stable? I didn't even get
What is stale? I don't know, I missed it.
Yes, that's correct. You both got it correct. The next category is
All right,
how's
one
your
more.
Latin vocabulary. Used at the end of a list to mean more items could be included. It's Latin for and the rest.
Is it?
Probably.
Alexa.
Remember, please respond in the form of a
ellipsis.
question,
Ooh, I like that.
starting with phrases like
Let's
who
do
is
it.
or what is.
Our next
No,
category is
Oh,
how's
it's
your
gonna repeat
Latin
the whole thing.
vocabulary.
All right.
Used at the end of a
Felicia,
list to
tell me
mean
with.
more items could be included. It's Latin for and the rest.
What is etc.? Luke made me do
Excellent.
it. Oh, he got it
Both of you
right.
got that clue
All
correctly.
right.
Osborne is in the
Alexa,
lead.
stop.
Thanks for playing today.
You're very welcome.
So in that case, we were actually playing against real people.
We were.
And another team.
Yeah.
Yeah, somewhere on the planet.
Yeah. So it looked like I haven't played Jeopardy in a while. Usually they just ask you questions, but they were talking about an event, a weekend event. So
Yeah.
yeah, so we were competing.
Yeah, now sadly we lost because we just dropped off completely.
We did.
Yeah, never
We
mind.
bailed out. One of my other favorite games that I play a lot with the kids is name that song, name that tune.
Yeah.
So we'll do, we'll say place. It's called Song Quiz, and then you can pick what genre of music you want, and then it tracks all of that. So I am a master at 90s music. That's our category.
Yeah.
That we go with. I think maybe because I grew up in the 90s, I suppose.
Indeed you did.
So, a lot of really cool games, though, to play to keep your mind sharp, keep you entertained. Obviously, they're all voice-driven games. It's because, obviously, it's a voice-driven speaker. So it can be anything from Jeopardy to some interactive fiction where it'll kind of read a story and then ask you what you want to do, almost like a choose-your-own-adventure book. So those have some replay because you can kind of change what your answers are and do different quizzes and kind of get different results.
Speaking of, one of the things we don't have on the list here, but I think is relevant, is books, the ability to listen to audiobooks.
That is a really good point. So
Yeah.
the Amazon Echo allows you to read two different forms of books. So for those that are familiar with the word Kindle, Amazon Kindle has been around for years and years and years. And you can purchase Kindle books. These are typically e-books or electronic books. And usually they're just read on a screen, but the Amazon Echo uses its voice to read you Kindle books. Alexa, read Pride and Prejudice.
Resuming Cory's book. To improve accessibility, I am now reading Pride and Prejudice. There are 10 hours left in the book. Chapter 7.
Just gotta get on there. So.
Mr. Bennet's property consisted almost entirely in an estate of $2,000 a year,
Alexa, stop. You can adjust, you can skip around by chapter, you can speed up or slow down the voice, and you could hear that it was the normal Amazon A voice that she's been using this whole time, which we can actually talk about that in a moment too for
Yeah,
the time.
sure.
But you can change the voice. But that's one way of reading books. The other way is by using audio books. Now, most of you may be familiar with the books from the National Library Service, the Library for the Blind. They send you cartridges, and it's a great service, completely free. Highly recommend that for audiobooks. But if you're somebody who prefers maybe more getting some of the professionally produced books, Amazon also owns the company Audible, and they're a huge library of audiobooks. And you can go ahead and purchase those Audible books, and then they're played on your Amazon Echo. Now, what's really cool about these is it will remember your place. So if I listen to an Audible book on my phone on the way to work, and then I come home and ask one of my speakers to play it, it's going to resume from where I left off. You can ask it to play any book in your library, and again, jump by chapter or jump by time, pause, rewind, all those kind of things that you'd expect to do. And those are going to be human narrated, just like you sort of get from the NLS or Library for the Blind books.
For those, you would have to purchase them.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Both for the Kindle books and for those Audible books, those do require a purchase. There's not really a free way to read books on the Audible. Maybe some of the free books that aren't in copyright anymore you can, but any of the newer books you're going to need to purchase those.
So does that mean that you bought Pride and Prejudice?
No, that's a free, that one is in public domain.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
All right, should we do jokes?
Sure.
Cool.
Very quickly.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So one of the things you can do with your Echo is ask it jokes. They're usually quite bad. So if you like bad jokes, then you are definitely in luck.
For anyone that listens to our Tech Connect series,
yes.
Every other Thursday, you are used to bad jokes.
Yeah.
So to make you feel like you are watching another Tech Connect live, let's get a bad joke.
Okay, so let's see what we got here. Alexa, tell us a joke.
Which Jedi always got his brother's hand-me-downs?
No.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
That was absolutely terrible.
That one was pretty bad.
Yeah. I think you can also ask seasonal jokes as well, can you not?
Oh, a Halloween one? Ask it,
Yeah, let's find out. Alexa, tell us a Halloween joke.
What's a zombie's favorite treat? You might think brain food, but it's actually eye candy.
Yeah, pretty bad.
There we go. So if you're very, very bored, then that's something that you could
Yes.
do.
If you've ran out of Jeopardy questions. Yeah. One other thing that the Amazon Echo can do is control smart home things. Now, I don't want to dive too deep into this, both from time, but also because most of this requires other devices in your home. But it is a really great way to have accessible access to things that might be a little bit more difficult. Thermostats can really be difficult. Most of them now are becoming touchscreen, and so it can be really hard to just get some information about what's the temperature in the house, setting it, and things like that. I have a thermostat in my house. It's a smart thermostat, which means that it connects to Wi-Fi, and then I have access to it through my Amazon Echo. So I can say, Alexa, what's the temperature in my house? Takes a second.
The average temperature of the home is 66 degrees.
So it says average because I have 3 or 4 sensors throughout my house that all check temperature. So it's taking all of those and giving me an average of what my home is. Now, again, because this device is mine and set to my account, even though I'm away from the house, I'm able to access that information. Alexa, set the thermostat mode to heat.
It's set to heat.
So now I just turned my heat on. Alexa, set the thermostat to 68.
The heat's set to 68.
And now I'm able to change the mode of my thermostat and able to change what I want the temperature to be set to. All by just using my voice. I don't have to interact with the device on the wall at all. I also have a number of smart lights in my home too, all over the house, kitchen and living room. I guarantee that one of my kids is probably in the living room right now. So Alexa, turn off the living room lights. So you heard that little beep noise? That means it just did it. Alexa, turn on the living room lights. And now I turned it back on for him. So you can control by voice, you can control lights if you're using smart lighting. And that can be really cool too, as Lauren and Dr. Hinson were talking about contrast, sometimes not being able to see those light switches. Yes, you could absolutely get a darker contrast light cover. Or if you're someone like me who wants to make it as complicated as possible, then you get smart lights and an Amazon Alexa and use your voice to turn them on and off.
Talking of complicated, Cory, I was wondering how, because your home is very kitted out with a lot of these different things, how complicated was it for you to set these up?
Honestly, it's not. They make it pretty easy to do, but you have to enjoy that kind of thing and kind of get into, because each device you buy has its own app, and then you tie it to Alexa. What's cool about them, though, is even if it's not something you're super into, there are companies like Best Buy where you can go and work with the Geek Squad, purchase the devices. They'll come out to your home and set them all up. Once they're set up, now I'm probably jinxing myself by saying this, but once the devices are set up, I have very little issues with them at all. So even if someone else set it up for you, you can still interact with it, and it's pretty reliable to be able to do all of these different things. And there's also some security that can be there too. I have some sensors on each of my doors in the home. I can set it up so that when a door opens, it announces over the Alexa which door opened. So if you're worried about security, or I can turn on an alarm and it'll say, unable to turn on the alarm, the front door is still open. So there's a lot of really cool, from a security standpoint, especially with low vision or somebody who's blind, there is a lot of ease of mind that can come as well from some of these smart home devices.
Yes, indeed. And you had mentioned apps there, Cory, and it is important to note that to set up your speaker for the first time, you do need an app, which means that you need a smartphone to get it set up. So if you don't have a smartphone, you might have to have somebody else do that for you. Once the speaker is set up, at that point, you don't need a phone anymore. It's all just going to be you interacting with the speaker with your voice. But one is required for that initial step.
Yep. Yeah, we had a grant a few years ago where we were providing Echo devices for people, and we came into the home, and even if they didn't have a smartphone, we were able to set it up for them. And then as soon as we left, it didn't matter. They were still working. Now, every so often, you might hear your Echo say, I'll send it to your phone. In that case, obviously, you wouldn't have access to what it says, but that doesn't happen very often.
All right, so with that, I think we have gone through all of our features. Now, there is more that is possible with the Echo, and a great way to use it is just to try, so just ask it something and see if it's able to do it. For example, one of the things you can do is order from Domino's. Have you ever done that, Cory?
I did at one time.
Okay, and how did it work?
How was the Domino's pizza? I think it went fine. It's been years since I did it. I used to use it. I don't know if it still does it, but you used to be able to order an Uber using it, but I'm not sure that that's active. But there is a lot of what are called skills, and these are third-party things that are made by other companies that extend the functionality of your device. So some of the smart home stuff I talked about, you can enable skills in order to access them. Another skill that's very helpful, especially for those who are blind or visually impaired, is the Nfb Newsline Skills. So for those that are familiar with the Newsline service, this is a free service to access over 500 different newspapers across the country. They've got tons of different ways to access it, from the telephone, from the computer, and then also from the Amazon Echo, where you can then access newspaper, the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel, or the Paper and Racine, or Kenosha, or Sturtevant, and have that read back to you out loud.
The only problem with ordering an Uber is once you get to your destination, now you can't get home because you don't have your Echo.
Well, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point. It's a one-way ride.
It's a one-way ride. Make sure you really want to go there first. Okay, well, I think that is everything, unless anybody has any questions they would like to ask. No? Okay. Oh, there was a question in the back there.
Does it make any difference if you have an Android or an Apple phone?
So you can get the app on either, correct, Cory?
Yep, yeah, absolutely. So for the setup process, doesn't matter what kind of device you have setting it up. Once it's set up, again, doesn't matter, because that same app is going to work on both, on an iPhone or an Android phone.
You have to set up the app on the iPhone and on the Android.
You can just set it up on one device. You don't need it on. Yeah.
Right.
Anybody else have any questions?
Alexa, do you have any questions?
What do you want to know?
Oh, she turned it back on us.
She said, I will say, with the holidays coming up, you can probably pick up an Echo Dot, which is the version that we have on the corner of the table over here, for $29. They usually run a sale in the holiday.
And I do believe in the next, maybe next week or the week coming very soon, they're going to be, Amazon's doing another, what they call Prime Day, where they have deep discounts on everything. And they announced a new Prime Day coming up here in October. So you'll pick one up.
It's a good time to buy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you, everybody. Appreciate you listening today.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate it.